Detective Pikachu stars Justice Smith, Kathryn Newton, and Ryan Reynolds as the voice of Pikachu, the world's most famous Pokemon. And the film takes place in a world where Pokemon exist. However, this is not a world where Pokemon are used by people to do battle. They live mainly in Rhyme City, and this is the place where they live harmoniously with people, working with them, being partners in police maybe. There are creative ways in which they will use Pokemon here to help people and also as really equals in society. And one day Tim finds out that his father went missing after an accident, investigating a case. And so he goes to his house in Rhyme City and comes across Detective Pikachu, a Pokemon that he can hear speak as if he was a normal person, which, by the way, Pokemon don't speak human language. They just say their name repeatedly. And by the way, I'm saying this because if you don't know Pokemon, do not go watch this film. This film will not waste time explaining to you what Pokemon is. You'll just have to go along for the ride. So I was watching this film and I'm basically the person this film was made for. I'm precisely from the generation that started playing the first Pokemon games, started watching the anime as soon as it came out. I know Pokemon back to back. I still play it today. The people who don't know, this movie is not for you. Get out. Now, I was not excited for this film, despite being a huge Pokemon fan. I love Pokemon, but I want an actual Pokemon film. And despite this film being Detective Pikachu, despite not being excited, the trailer is not looking good, this is more or less a real Pokemon film. I've never played the Detective Pikachu games, I'm just not interested in that non-story. This has quite a few elements of a real Pokemon story to me. In fact, it has a lot of elements that we Pokemon fans will recognize, not just from Pokemon in general, but from other Pokemon movies. Big shock, Mewtwo is in the trailer, and fortunately, to my happiness, he has more of a role in the film than I thought. He has quite a big role in this film. He is quite significant to the story. He doesn't win when it comes to who has more screen time, but I can only say that he is significant to the story. The film basically starts with him and that's how he go off. Justice Smith and Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, of course, have quite good chemistry, I gotta say. I was surprised. I don't know if Justice is quite ready to be a star, to carry a film on his own. So it made sense for Ryan Reynolds to bring people in because they really do work together. Even though I had my problems with Ryan Reynolds playing this version of Pikachu, he was just very Ryan Reynolds at points. Too much Ryan Reynolds and not an actual character. And I love Ryan Reynolds, but whenever he spoke I could just hear him and not this version of a Pikachu. But the biggest surprise to me was actually how this film looked. The cinematography can be incredible at points. I'm not joking. When they're in the city, especially at night, they use lights in a beautiful manner. The neon lights that light up the city at night, lens flares that look straight out of a J.J. Abrams picture, but with much more style, dare I say. There are definitely positives in this film that I was not expecting. The chemistry between the two main leads being the most important thing out of these, and it really works. The cinematography, the Pokemon in general, they're alright. I think the only two that look legitimately good are Pikachu and Mewtwo. The others, they have a nice model in them, but whenever you see them on screen, you just don't believe they are there on the same plane of existence as the other people. You always feel like they're looking at nothing. And granted, they would probably look like that in any Pokemon movie, in a quote-unquote real Pokemon movie. I would most likely have the same problem because it's really tough to create a world surrounded by creatures constantly as if they were as common as animals all around us. So creating a live-action Pokemon movie, the biggest problem they would face was not going to be if the movie is good or bad. It would always be if all of the Pokemon constantly look good. And here, that didn't work, but they're okay. They're not going to win Razzie for worst visual effects because they're alright. Now I gotta say, the story feels rather convoluted at the end of the day. When you look at the film as a whole, there are just so many things that happen that are either convenient or overly complicated. I'm not going to dive into details, I can't, but it's very rather easy to put the pieces together from the get-go, and the mystery that surrounds this film is not really a mystery because you start out basically knowing everything you need to know. As I said in the beginning, this is not a world where people battle with their Pokemon. They live in harmony with them. They see them as equals. Battles are illegal in this world, but the film never goes into exploring that. The film is just about this one story of this kid and this Pikachu trying to find this guy and what really happened to him. This world has so much lore in itself without even counting what it has throughout the entire history of Pokemon, but it never goes out there to show you what really is happening. It never goes out there to be about something bigger than what it's actually showing in this personal story. There's very little world building done in this film, and that disappointed me because I'm a huge fan of world building period in films, and when films do it well, it's freaking amazing to watch. But in Pokemon alone, you have such a chance at exploring a wider world. It's really a shame that they didn't take a chance at that. And without going into specifics again, the third act is a big reach, what they do there. It raises a lot of questions, specifically when it comes to the relationship between Jason Smith and that Pikachu. I really want to see the film again, just to try and understand what was going on there when they were writing this film, because it's rather weird looking back. Honestly, I think this film will probably give you what you are expecting going in. It was a little bit better than I myself expected. I was expecting an okay film. I was not excited. I think people who are excited will get exactly what they want from a Pokemon movie that they always dreamed of. I think people who are not excited will just not care as they did from the trailers. The trailers are a faithful representation of what the film is. It's cute to see Pokemon in live action, and it does bring a smile to my face. I always dreamed of seeing a live action Pokemon film, but the film doesn't live up to its whole potential. I'm giving Detective Pikachu a C+. And by the way, do not stick around for post-credit scenes because they do not exist. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are the best. Go check out my reviews for Longshot or for Avengers Endgame, spoilers or not. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. Until the next video, stay beautiful, stay geeky, and if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button and click the bell so we can be geeky unite!